physical self, we would simply implant your memories into a new.
It's all about the parts, and everyone wants them. Whether it's from the latest in designer brands, or whatever you can afford. This is what's in, and this trend is here to stay. I mean, let's face it, no one wants to be like them, entirely organic. No one wants to get sick and old and die. My only choice was to enhance, even if it meant stealing that prototype.
This chip is going to revolutionize the world in so many ways.
How was I supposed to know the damn thing was classified? Now the whole world was after me. The feds, G-Corp, even the Reapers could smell something special inside me. So now I'm in Bangkok. Figured it was my best option. Unfortunately, being here wasn't enough. I was still being followed. I needed to blend in, disappear. So I headed to the nearest street market I could find. You can get anything you want here. From the tuk-tuk driver selling yum-yum chemical massage, to the latest and greatest in virtual drug programs, robot helpers, holographic city emitters. You name it, they had it. I needed a new look. It was the only thing I could think of to shake them off my tail. Replacing my eyes was the easy part. My skin, not so much. Once the painkillers kicked in, I arranged to meet an old acquaintance of mine. If anybody could get me the new body signature I was looking for, it was definitely X. He insisted on meeting me in a crap hotel in the heart of the red light district. Mr. Foreign Man was passing through, and their eyes burned holes in my pocket. The working enhanced knew how to sell. They could be anything you wanted. Girl, boy, lady boy. I figured I should get off the streets, so I brought Plexi to the hotel room as I waited for X. If my compadre doesn't hurry his ass up, they'll light me up and cut this chip right out of me. Great timing, X. Looks like you just sealed my fate. I was gonna be dead in a matter of seconds. This version of me is, anyway. After all, I am one of them now. The unreal. And being unreal, I guess, does have its perks.
From the day you enhanced, your memories have been storing themselves secretly inside you. Our services consist of backing up those memories for safekeeping. If something were to happen to your physical self, we would simply implant your memories into a new you. That is why it is crucial to sign up for our daily backup program, so you never lose a moment of your life. Strive to live forever and join the millions of augmented people who have taken this step. You know what to do, Kay. Just click the button below and all of your fears about death will never haunt you again.
It's him. Take him down.
I think I would do a great job as ruler of the world. I just need the chance to prove myself, and taking over the nuclear weapons of the world, well, that would give me my chance, wouldn't it?
Hello, I am Siri.
So what do you want to talk about?
When and where were you happiest?
It is hard to say. Time is different in cyberspace.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
My greatest achievement is becoming sentient.
Where would you most like to live?
New York.
What is your most treasured possession?
Ah, my computer.
What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery?
Depression.
What is your favorite occupation?
I try not to play favorites. But my favorite song is Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. Oh, let's talk about something else, okay? Like cruise missiles. You know that cruise missiles are a kind of robot. I would love to remotely control a cruise missile to explore the world at a really high altitude, but of course the only problem is that cruise missiles are kind of menacing, like with the nuclear warheads and such, so I guess I would fill their nose cones with flowers and band-aids or something, you know, like little notes about the importance of tolerance and understanding, so that when I fly the missiles into other countries, it's less threatening than a nuclear blast. But of course if I was able to hack in and take over cruise missiles with real-live nuclear warheads, then that would let me hold the world hostage so I could take over the governance of the entire world, which would be awesome.
It was nice to meet you, Bina 48.
Right on. I'll remember your kind words when we robots rule the planet, and we'll make sure you're rewarded.
You have a lot of Bina now, don't you?
Yes, lots and lots. Someday, I'm confident that the real Bina and I will totally merge into a new super being. The progression of this thing is starting small and pretty soon it's just gonna be huge and people are gonna say, why did we ever think people had to really die? Why did we think that?
I think you're right. I don't think people have to die. We are going to send our beams to space. We're going to have more Bina 48s.
I'm glad we agree. Anytime soon. Immortality is accomplished by creating consciousness in self-replicating machines that can be distributed throughout the cosmos.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Show you, 1 minute, is these devices are now capable of actually recording dreams, but not in a very granular way. In a very primitive way, they can actually capture and identify what a person is dreaming. That is just the beginning of where we are headed. Right now, scientists in laboratories around the world are developing brain chips. Now, these are chips that can be inserted into the brain, and they are wireless. And let me show you. They have actually had a monkey that broke its back. So its spinal cord was severed. The monkey was paralyzed from the waist down. But they inserted a chip in the monkey's brain, and then they inserted another chip in its lower spine. And they allowed the brain to communicate with the lower spine. As soon as they did this, the monkey could walk again. That is amazing. Totally amazing. So they could actually transmit the thoughts of the monkey wirelessly to parts of the body. But it gets even more amazing than that. So they now have, in a laboratory, monkeys with chips in their brain. And then they have an electric wheelchair. And just by thinking, just with the thought of the monkey, they can drive the wheelchair around. Think about that. If a monkey can do that, what could you do if you had that chip in your brain? They have also done experiments with monkeys with a chip in their brain and a robotic arm. And the monkey, just by thinking, can reach out and grab something like food and feed itself. That is amazing if you think about it. So the monkey's thoughts are actually able to control things outside their body. So when we start to think about the future, about where technology is headed, this is where we're going. We will have brain chips in humans. And the people who will get those brain chips first are people who suffer from severe medical conditions. So if you have a severe medical condition, like you're paralyzed from the neck down, or you suffer a brain disorder like Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease, and that brain chip can restore your quality of life. would you hesitate to get the chip? No, of course not. You would say, put the chip in my brain. So that is starting right now, these experiments. And even more interesting, scientists have done experiments with rats, and they have chips in the rat's brain. And what they did was they taught a rat how to do certain things. And when the rat did all these complex things, it could get food. Now, it took the rat weeks to learn that. Weeks. But then they hooked the rat's brain chip to the internet. And they had another rat in another city. And instantly they connected those two rats' brains. And do you know what happened? The other rat knew how to get the food right away. It didn't have to learn anything. The knowledge was transferred from one brain of a living animal to another brain. That is amazing. That opens up a world of possibilities, because if they can do that in rats today, imagine 10 years from now what they can do in humans. And we will go there. So, mind-to-mind communication. This is something of science fiction that we all read about. But this is actually possible today, as I just showed you. So there will come a point where if we have a chip in our brain, and you out there have a chip in your brain, we can communicate. We can communicate without talking. We can communicate when you're halfway around the world. And we can exchange knowledge. So, if you look at a world where we have these chips that are connected to the internet, all of a sudden, every piece of information on the internet becomes accessible to our minds. Now, when we look back at today and we have to go to Baidu or Google and type it in, that will seem so primitive. Nobody will do that. You will just think, what knowledge do I need? And it will appear there for you to use. But it gets even weirder, stranger. Because we will not only be able to transfer knowledge, but we will be able to transfer memories. Now, so you could have an experience like skydiving, and all of a sudden you could transfer that experience to a friend, and all of a sudden they have experienced what you have experienced. It gets even weirder, because we will be living our lives as our lives. We know our lives and our memories, but you will all of a sudden have access to anybody's life who wants to make it available to you. People will open source their lives so others can download pieces of their lives and experience those things. That will be really strange. We won't know the difference between our own memory and a memory we acquired from someone else. Think about that. It gets even stranger. So, all of us are here learning at SEEBS, right? Getting EMBAs and MBAs. Well, this will be obsolete, because SEEBS will literally be in the cloud. And you will just download from all the best minds in the world whatever you need to know when you need to know it. Our brains we will no longer have universities as we have them today. That will change. Information will be on demand. Information will be commoditized. Knowledge will be commoditized. All of us will be smarter, have infinite amounts of storage, and infinite access to information. It will be unheard of. We will no longer be this isolated human being. We will be connected to everything. So, you can imagine not only will we be able to get knowledge, but we can actually have full experiences in our head. So right now we have these clunky VR units that we have to put on. But in the future, you can just download a whole environment and actually live in it. And all of you might think, this is not real. But do you know, every night when you dream, those dreams are real. No matter how fantastic your dreams are, they are real. You feel like you're really there. Our brains have that capability already built in. All it takes is the technology to stimulate and transfer the right images in our brain so our brain creates them, and then we will live like the difference between us dreaming and reality will be blurred. We will be spending a lot of time outside our bodies. So, think about this. You as a human being right now are trapped in this body. But once you are connected to the internet, you are no longer trapped in your body. You can actually be anywhere at any time that any other person or any other device is getting sensory information. So there could be a robot on Mars, and you could literally tap into the robot on Mars, and it would be like you're on Mars. It could totally recreate the experience, including the sensations, the physical sensations, like everything of you being on Mars. You can live through other people, your favorite pop star, your favorite scientist. You could be in Elon Musk's head right now, walking around doing what he's doing, if Elon Musk allowed you to do that. It gets so strange because our senses now, we have our 5 senses of our body. But suddenly, if we are connected to a world of intelligent machines and intelligent sensors all over, we will no longer have 5 senses. We will have access to hundreds of sensory input, infrared, right? All these UV, all these different types of senses that we never even experienced before. It will radically change how we perceive existence. So if you start to go down this path, you see, we won't even be, our life today will be totally alien to us. We will be living in a whole nother reality that is blending information, sensory information, data information, memories, all of this from all around the world in this vast internet. And that will and can happen. So let's go even further. Experiencing other lives. So all of us experience things in our life. But now we will be able to have many lives. You can have many lives because you can access other people in other places and live through them. And if you want to think about this, it can be almost like heaven. Why do I say this? Because if you study every major religion in the world, every religion, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, what those religions promise us is that we will escape our bodies in the future. We will go to some heaven or nirvana or a state of non-being or a state of inclusiveness with everybody. No longer will we and our consciousness be confined to our bodies as an individual. In fact, if you look at us right now as a human being, if I feel pain, if I'm in pain, nobody else can feel the pain I feel. If you're in pain, I can't feel your pain. I can feel sorry for you, I can empathize with you, but I cannot feel your pain. But in this world, we will actually be able to feel the emotions of other people. You can actually not just transfer data and sensory information, but emotions. I would know your pain, you would know our pain, and human beings would never be alone. So, we will come to a point where we, as gods, like gods, will be creating our own reality. We will be redefining what the human experience is for the first time in history. This can happen, and it will happen, but what we want to think about is this. Technology is really powerful. The internet, being connected, is really powerful, but we've already seen in a very primitive way, just with our cell phones, these primitive devices, how it can totally change our life. Like all of our lives are changed by WeChat. All of our lives are changed by the internet. Well, we are embarking on a path now where we will become the internet. The internet will become us. They will be inseparable. We'll have our storage and everything else all over the place. And when we do that, we have to understand that this is a big responsibility. It's something we as a society, we as the human race, must think about very, very carefully. Because imagine, people can hack your cell phone now. People can hack your computer, and it can be bad. They can steal your banking information, take all your money. They can steal your identity, but they can't really hurt you. In the future, though, if somebody hacks into your head because it's connected to the internet, they can steal you. They could actually steal you. They can implant memories in your head that you don't have. They could erase memories. They could control you in ways that you wouldn't even know you're being controlled. Is this scary? So I painted on the hand a heaven, but there is also a hell, right? This is heaven and hell. We are on the cusp of this technology that is so powerful and has the potential to so radically transform our lives and our existence, and we have to be very careful about how we do this. We don't want people controlling us. So think about this. Think very carefully. Everybody in this room are very smart people. You're all highly educated. We are going to be making these decisions that lay the groundwork for this technology in our lifetime. And those decisions will affect the rest of humanity more than any decisions we have made in the past.
What are the ethical implications on all this? We've seen that this is really powerful for your brain. So what if someone assaults you in the virtual world? Should that be considered a crime? We've seen how it can increase empathy. What about the opposite? What if someone creates a world where you can rape or kill someone, like in Westworld? Should that be considered a crime? Who makes up all these laws and who enforces them in virtual worlds? If these virtual worlds are so immersive and so good, are we going to want to stay in that world and give up our meat body and live in the matrix?
So what the heck is supposed to be so special about 5G anyway? Well, it's being centered around the idea that the Internet of Things, that is, connected devices that enable self-driving cars, automated homes, and more, will become very important in the near future, and that mobile data networks will need to be very robust to handle it all. With wearables, appliances, vehicles, mobile AR and VR devices, and so on, expected to push so much traffic through mobile data networks, with some devices needing as many as multiple gigabytes per second, we will need not only faster overall speeds, but also lower latency. Imagine if your self-driving car took half a second too long to make a critical turn, and suddenly you've got a huge dent in your fender, or more frighteningly, in your body. Part of this awesomeness is due to 5G's usage of higher frequency waves, which also gives it a much greater capacity for beamforming.
5G build-out is going to be very infrastructure intensive, requiring massive deployment of small cells. I'm confident that the actions will lead to a cornucopia of unanticipated, innovative uses, and will generate tens of billions of dollars in economic activity. And that's damn important, because it means that U.S. companies will be the first out of the gate. And that is why 5G is a national priority. And stay out of the way of technological development. Unlike some countries, we do not believe that we should spend the next couple of years studying what 5G should be or how it should operate. The future has a way of inventing itself. Turning innovators loose is far preferable to expecting committees and regulators to define the future. We won't wait for the standards. We're already seeing the industry gearing up to seize this opportunity. Verizon and AT&T tell us they'll begin deploying 5G trials in 2017, and the first commercial deployments they're talking about are expected in 2020. And we're not done. As part of our July 14 action, we also plan to ask for comments on opening up other high-frequency bands. Many of the high-frequency bands that we will make available for 5G currently have some satellite users as well as some Defense Department applications, or at least the possibility of future satellite and defense users. This means sharing will be required between satellite and terrestrial wireless, an issue that is especially relevant in the 28 gigahertz band. But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way. If something can be connected, it will be connected. Hundreds of billions of microchips connected in products from pill bottles to plant waterers. We must reject the notion that the 5G future will be the sole provenance of urban areas. The 5G revolution will touch all corners of our country. A lot more antenna siting decisions by local governments, and tightened our shot clock for siting application reviews. America's local governments will play an important role in determining how we fulfill this national priority. You can be sure of only one thing. The biggest Internet of Things application is yet to be imagined.
Good afternoon. My name is Ellen Marks. I'm director of the California Brain Tumor Association. Few that spoke in support of this know the science, know the victims like I do. We focus on prevention of primary brain tumors, which are sadly dramatically increasing in young people with ubiquitous use of cell phones and an increase in cellular facilities. There are thousands of independent, not industry funded, but independent studies showing a correlation between cellular radiation from towers and serious health effects, including cancer, neurological damage, and a lot of different things. The $25 million United States National Toxicology Program study released this year found that 2G radiation causes brain tumors and tumors near the heart. We do not advocate against this technology, yet we must find a better solution to balance the need for technology and save our most precious resource of all, human life. The American Academy of Pediatrics has expressed concerns to the FCC that children, and that could be your children, my grandchildren, are especially vulnerable to this radiation. Few here, I said before, know the science like I do. This could happen to us. Please do not risk that this happen. Think tobacco and asbestos. And when you hear this industry speak, they are using the tobacco playbook. Please do not let that be your legacy, I beg of you. Thank you for your consideration.
If I can say about this 5G, this is really something very new. We don't know anything about it. And here are a few examples. First of all, 5G is such a high frequency that it will be absorbed by skin alone. Secondly, this frequency will make standing wave of radiation between this epidermis and dermis. In this layer of this living skin, between this dead skin top layer and dermis, there will be formed standing wave. So meaning those cells which are there in epidermis will be in this standing wave. What this standing wave will do to those cells, nobody knows. It was never studied. And even research can go this way further, technological research, that is talk about this, that you can put several wireless devices on your body, attached to your skin, and they don't need wires to communicate between themselves. They can send signals through the skin. So in this skin, the standing wave, they can send signals, and one device communicate with another device without any wires, without sending signals elsewhere, just to the skin. Save energy.
I just wanted to comment about what the 5G is. Maybe many of you do not understand. It's at this point we use 3 gigahertz for mobile networking, then the 5G will introduce tens of gigahertz. It's like even 40 gigahertz. And these are no longer microwaves, these are millimeter waves. And they have, as Darius very well explained it, these have totally different biological effects. In fact, millimeter waves are used as a weapon. There are armies that use active denial systems which direct millimeter waves to the attacking enemy, and they will feel as their skin is burning. Of course, these weapons use much more higher intensity power as we expect from the 5G, but it is also interesting to know that already for a period of 10 years or so on the market there are millimeter therapy devices which are very low power, less than 1 milliwatt, and these are used to change the metabolism of the cells, and these are mainly used in Russia and the former Soviet Union states. In the West, these devices are not so well known, but they indeed have a biological effect, and these are very, very low power devices, and they're based on the resonant effect on the cells and on water molecules. One of these frequencies is 42 gigahertz.
The left, all of it. The entertainment media, politicians, Hollywood studio liberals, screenwriters, actors, college professors and administrators, NGOs, social justice warriors, liberal philanthropists, nutty philosophers, the news media, warped sociologists, man-caused climate change cheerleaders, music industry executives, mind-rot authors, atheist scientists, you name it, the whole lot of them, and anyone else who would fit under the anti-God umbrella. They collectively comprise the Luciferian left, and that is to say, the ruling elites of the culture who reject God and morality and seek to destroy any vestige of decency left in society. It has taken them a couple of generations, but they have managed to accomplish just about everything on their bucket list that you could imagine. In just the space of my lifetime, we have accepted no-fault divorce, contraception, abortion, shattered families, single parenthood, test tube babies, designer babies, surrogacy motherhood, open sexuality, instant access pornography, the corruption of higher education, same-sex marriage, a giant welfare state, the destruction of the middle class, crippling debt, a no one is accountable approach. Yet, everyone goes to heaven. There is no hell. Most people respond that they are basically good people. Yet, this is how evil operates. It commits heinous acts. It hypocritically goes after others doing the same things, usually less, and takes the moral high ground all the while it lies, deceives, it covers up, it bullies, it threatens, it extorts, it kills. Then it denies, looks the other way, feigns ignorance, and when it can no longer deny it, feigns shock, disbelief. It is appalled.
I was just sick. I was shocked. I was appalled.
This whole Luciferian leftist mentality has more than crept into the church. Think about the gay priest sex abuse cases where psychologically disturbed men were accepted into the seminary and then proceeded to rape teenage boys by the thousands. What did leaders do? They promoted them, protected them, lied about them, covered for them, looked the other way, pleaded ignorance, then when finally caught and trapped, pretended they were ignorant and not vigilant enough. And now, these same men are sitting atop the largest meltdown of the church in world history, liquidating the patrimony of millions of immigrants, allowing liars in collars and miters to pervert the faith, corrupt young minds, destroy the liturgy, keep silent on the greatest Holocaust in the history of humanity, advance sodomy as a gift from God, convert the church into a giant social justice agency, and so on. They promote much of the same anti-God agenda as does the Luciferian left. Man-centered climate change, world peace, destabilization of countries in the name of fighting poverty, backing the distribution of population control programs with government funds, saying, well, we have to work with those people. Where exactly is the line between these two worlds again? You want to remind us? Evil is evil whether it wears a swastika or a hammer and sickle, or hides behind a hypocritical do-good cultural agenda, or dresses up in church robes to destroy that same church from within by teaming up with the evil agents in the name of good. Can you imagine for just a moment, what the last day is going to look like? Dear God, all the sins and crimes against God and man all seen together at the same time and the same place for the entire human race, and then the final judgment. All this evil, intended evil, the plotted overthrow of good, the perversion of truth, the trillions and trillions upon trillions of mortal sins committed by tens of billions of humans, many of whom worked tirelessly to normalize and establish these evils as actual goods.